नमस्कार, नमस्कार।
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः।
Namaskar and a very good afternoon to all of you. Friends, it's a great pleasure to welcome you to today's Vimarsh talk on the role of earth sciences in India's growth, prosperity and security, to be delivered by our eminent speaker, Dr. M. Ravichandran, Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India. And I also want to welcome Shri Amrendra Dhari Singh Ji, MP Rajya Sabha, who is also here with us today. And there are representatives from Ministry of Earth Sciences, Dr. Vijay Kumar, from Niti Aayog, Dr. Vivek Singh, Commodore P.K. Srivastav from MoES, and the representatives of some leading think tanks, and also representatives of Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So, as you know, it's been an endeavor of the VIF to bring eminent speakers from across the disciplines and across the spectrums to talk on issues of national interest. We have been doing this program for more than a decade. We have also published some of the lectures, which you might like to have a look at it. And this platform has emerged as the flagship platform for the VIF, for public interaction between leading experts and scholars with the students and with members of media, strategy community, and so on. So today's talk is on a very important and a very fascinating subject, that of role of earth sciences in India's growth story. I'm very grateful to Dr. Ravichandran ji for finding time from his very busy schedule, that too during the parliament session, to visit the VIF for this interaction with the public. That shows how much importance he attaches to this interaction. Just to introduce very briefly Dr. Ravichandran, he has been serving as the Secretary of the Ministry of Earth Sciences since October 11, 2021. He holds a PhD in physics from the University of Pune and has made significant contributions to ocean and climate sciences throughout his career. Before his current role, he was the director of the National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, Goa, from 2016 to 2021. His extensive experience includes serving as a scientist at the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, the National Institute of Ocean Technology, the Indian National Center for Ocean Information Services, that is INCOIS, and several other places. Dr. Ravichandran, his expertise spans ocean observation, climate modeling, and polar research. And he is a key figure in advancing India's earth science and atmospheric sciences. Throughout his illustrious career, Dr. Ravichandran has held several prominent positions in both national and international committees and organizations. His presence in international fora underscores the significant impact he has made on global climate research initiatives. Friends, In the Hindu philosophical thinking, the world is made up of five elements: Vayu, Jal, Akash, Agni, and Prithvi. Our existence is inextricably linked with the Panchtattva. It is interesting that the discipline of earth sciences deals with precisely five elements. So this is very interesting. That is atmosphere, hydrosphere, cryosphere, lithosphere, biosphere, and their complex interactions with each other and with the human beings and life. In Hindu thought, we regard the earth as a mother. Atharva Veda says, Mata Bhumi Putro Aham Prithavya. The earth is my mother. I am the son of the earth. The Atharva Veda has 63 verses brought together in Prithvi Sukta, devoted to the praise of Mother Earth. This is perhaps the earliest and most comprehensive appreciation of the unity of life and nature. So people thought about it. So for us, Prithvi is not just another planet in the solar system, etc. It is much higher. We have great respect for that. All life on Earth, including the existence of humans, is dependent upon the functioning of Earth systems. If the equilibrium inherent in Earth system is disturbed, the life on Earth will be impacted. Thanks to overconsumption, reckless exploitation of planetary resources, Earth systems have been disturbed. The debate goes on about how far human actions are responsible for the climate change that we are witnessing, but the fact remains that climate change is having an adverse impact on the life on Earth. The Ministry of Earth Sciences, formerly known as the Department of Ocean Development, is the nodal ministry to study the planetary systems and provide useful services for weather, climate, oceans, India's coasts, hydrology, seismology, and natural hazards. So their role in nation's progress or nation building is important. The ministry is also responsible for the exploration and harnessing of marine and living and non-living resources, as well as the exploration of the Arctic, the Antarctic, and the Himalayas. It has several institutes, mainly the Indian Meteorological Department, the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, the National Center for Weather Forecasting, National Center for Polar and Ocean Research. These institutes provide invaluable services to the nation by way of weather forecasts and other activities. Of these, perhaps IMD is most well known to us because we look at their forecasts every day and see whether it's going to rain or not. But the point is that the services provided by the MoES and its institutes are vital for nation building in all areas, ranging from weather forecasting to deep sea exploration and the sustainable use of marine resources. Over the years, the ministry has launched several state-of-the-art initiatives to strengthen an earth science ecosystem in the country. As per reports, these include the umbrella scheme of Prithvi Vigyan 21 to 26, the Deep Ocean Mission, and the mission MOSM launched only last year. Together, they would strengthen India's capability in climate modeling, polar science and cryospheric research, seismology, and weather forecasting. It is heartening to note that MoES has launched high-performance computers of 22 petaflops capacity to improve weather prediction, disaster preparedness, and climate research and services. This will make us a global leader in this field. These initiatives will not only benefit the country, but also strengthen its international stature and science diplomacy. MoES plays an important role in India's science diplomacy. It participates in international engagements and deliberations on diverse subjects such as Antarctica Treaty, Arctic Council, and various climate change agreements. Its responsibilities would increase following the recent landmark advisory opinion of the ICJ, issued only yesterday, according to which the states have obligations to ensure the protection of the climate system and other parts of the environment from anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions. This advisory, I believe, is not binding, but it carries a lot of weight internationally. It will give a boost to climate change activists and even governments who have been clamoring for the developed countries to take effective action to curb emissions. And I think your ministry and your institutes will have a major role in collecting data, in projecting the right situation. Since you are here, maybe I'll just make a few suggestions. One area that requires some attention is the dissemination of the excellent work done by the ministry and its institutions to the common man. We had a discussion with the director IMD some weeks ago, and we discussed this. your institute, etc., has some fantastic data, so useful, relevant, and so visually appealing. So I think there must be some way of reaching it out to the common person. The government could consider promoting the setting up of an Earth channel. And I take my inspiration from the channels that we have, grown watching, the National Geographic, Discovery Channel, etc., all of course by the West. But now I think we are in a position to make documentaries, to bring this issue to the attention of the people. And now we have money, we have intentions, and we have position. And of course, it will connect with so many other things. Now, when we spoke to the IMD director, he said that yes, they do that, and but they share this information. But sharing information, sending one message here, there is not enough. It should be there, right on the TV, on all social media channels. Maybe private sector could also be involved. They could also put in some money, etc. But because India is such a India and its surroundings, the oceans, the Himalayas, the glaciers, and everything else is so very fascinating. So I think you are the people who could do it. So just I leave this suggestion for you. Then there's another suggestion is maybe I am not fully updated on this, but I think that there is a merit in reviewing the school and university curricula and including authentic information about India's tryst with earth sciences. So at least at the school level, at university level, in our curricula, there should be proper, authentic information on this very great discipline of earth sciences, and to which so many other things are. Life is, in fact, associated. As the importance of earth science is realized, we will need to build and expand the cadre of earth scientists, engineers, technologists, and skilled technicians to help the growth of the earth science discipline in the country. So if you're looking at 30, 40, 50 years ahead, so this is one area I think a lot of progress has been made, but we'll need a whole, at the mission scale, we should have thousands of people associated with these disciplines. So how do we do that? I think is something that could be thought. It will also be useful if the social scientists, security experts, and strategic affairs analysts are associated with our scientists. Because otherwise, all these discussions happen only in the context of science and technology, which is very important. But the impact is through social sciences, through policies, through geopolitics, and so on. So let us include, you have now several missions which are coming up. Mission MoSem is one, and Prithvi, Vigyan, etc. But let social scientists come right in the beginning. By its very nature, earth sciences are multidisciplinary. The work of the MoES is intertwined with the work done by several other ministries, departments, agencies, and non-governmental entities, including in the private sector. Perhaps there is a merit in setting up on the lines of the Space Commission and Atomic Energy Commission, an empowered Earth Commission, to look at the earth sciences in a holistic and comprehensive way, keeping in mind the nation's priorities. So these are a few things that I thought I'll just leave with you. We can have maybe a little more discussion later. But in today's talk, Dr. Ravichandran will dwell upon the state of the earth sciences research and innovation in India and how it is contributing to the country's progress. We'll also learn about the key initiatives which I mentioned, and there may be many more, and schemes of the ministry which are relevant to common people. Now I request Dr. Ravichandran to take the floor. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to all of you. And first and foremost, I thank Vivekananda International Foundation for inviting me to share some of the ideas and thought process and what we are doing in earth science for the common man as well as for the India's growth journey. What is our plan and what are the things we are planned. And secondly, I think, yes, many things he has summarized already in abstract, especially the ministry's objectives and other things. Some of the things I had, but I will quickly pass on that. So today's talk, primarily I aimed for two things. One is to share what we are doing. And second thing is mainly I want the input from all of you because it is we want to have a evolutionary aspect in 2047 where we should be. when a country is thinking of developed country, that time from Earth Science community, what we have to contribute for that endeavor. So that is the main objective. So we are evolving various Earth system processes. What are the things to do, which we have highlighted here. But at the same time, this is the one maybe minuscule input, but I want everyone to chip in, because some of the things like sir already mentioned about what Earth Science has to do, Earth Ministry has to do. Some of the things we have, even Earth Commission is there already, but unfortunately we don't have, unlike the Space Commission and Atomic Energy Commission, we don't have a financial power. That is why that is not been made it. And the other things, the channel which we are working on it. Last week only we have started for a outreach channel and other things. Many of the things which we are planning to do, because our outreach is very, very meager, I think we need to amplify, because how the information has to reach the common man, that is we are lagging, which we have to do that. So my request is all of you, please listen. And maybe this is not the only growth journey from Earth Science, but definitely you will all have some input and thoughts. I want to seek that your input, so that I will put collectively, because next 5 years they are planning for setting up the infrastructure for next 2047. That means next 5 years, we want to put in place the infrastructure required to meet the objective of 2047. So what are the objective in our field, that I will also develop on some of the things. So thank you all of you, especially as from yesterday we are become very fortunate to have our MP. So we have interacted with how polar science or polar things are important for us a national perspective. And thank you for coming, sir, for especially this. Yeah, of course. So I will just highlight what are the things in this one. First, when you talk about the Ministry of Earth Sciences, as already sir mentioned, we deal with the atmosphere, hydrosphere, geosphere, cryosphere, and associated biosphere. How holistically enhance the energy, or how holistically transfer the energy from one sphere to another sphere in terms of various forms. So how it is interacting each other, and how we look at the various processes are happening. From that, what are the service we can provide, what we want to understand, and from understanding what it is useful for the humankind and other things. That's what we are looking at it. And for this, we have about 10 institutions. Of course, there are about some institutions, 3 institutions for atmospheric science, like IMD, National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecast, as well as Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology. They are looking out only mainly on atmosphere. And the second one is a blue color. It is ocean related. National Center for Marine Living Resources, National Institute of Ocean Technology, Indian National Center for Ocean Information Services, and also National Center for Coastal Research and National Center for Polar and Ocean Research. These are all the institutions mainly cover on ocean. And Polar Institute, only one, that is the National Center for Polar and Ocean Research in Goa. They cover mainly on exploring the polar regions. And the last two institutions, that is the National Center for Seismology, as well as National Center for Earth Sciences. These two institutes is for solid earth. They look at the seismology, mainly earthquake related research, as well as operational delivery. In all these things, of course, the 5 institutions, out of the 2 is subordinate and 3 attached and 5 autonomous bodies. So our main objective is basically to do science and translate that science to the services for the benefit of the society. That is the main objective of our ministry. Under that, we try to observe something, all these spheres, and collect the data, and try to data from knowledge we generate. From the knowledge, we get the information, and finally, we provide the valuable services, whether it is for resources, or it is for mitigation, or it is for various aspects. That is our main overall objective. So when we talk about future priorities, and when Earth Science role, what is we are thinking is mainly in the right side figure, you can see that all we are looking at is, so all we are looking at mainly some of the aspects: energy, health, food. These are the three main things apart from health. Health means health of the ecosystem as well as health of the human being. So health, energy, water, food. Under these things only everybody is striving for in future. But in this aspect, there is a change in climate and warming scenario. When it is changing climate change, in that aspect, how this various resources, especially energy, water, food, and also health aspect, how it will be changing. And then also, apart from that, how various hazards, how to mitigate, how do we adapt, how do we equip preparedness for various mitigation, various hazards, and also equally we need to keep our sustainability of the earth system as a whole. So this is a major things which we are looking at to feature aspect of earth science, what we can contribute. Some of the list I have made it basically how we can prepare disaster and how we can resource sustainably, we utilize the resources, and how we can address the climate change and environmental challenges and productivity of agriculture, public health, water resource, energy, and in through blue economy, how we can enhance our blue economy contribution to the national GDP, and finally, of course, the national security in for the country. So these are the perspective. So now I will dwell upon each sphere. What is our vision? What we can contribute from that aspect for taking all these things, how we can going to address in the each sphere. So when we talk about atmosphere, of course, this is basically in the meteorology. So basic our mission or our vision is mainly to make Bharat weather ready and climate smart. Each of the sector, either you take agriculture sector or power sector or transport or everybody, they depend heavily on weather and climate. So, but the information what is available and the forecast what we knowledge what we have and the observation what we have, it is a minimum. Now globally, now everybody thinking of the forecast basically they are going with the atmospheric. Suppose if you want to go for 2 days or 3 days forecast, the memory is available only in the atmosphere. But if you want to go for next week or next month, the forecast memory is available in the ocean. But if you go for beyond next year or next decade, then the polar sea ice and sediment core that is having a clue. So similarly, so we want to have a earth system approach we are going. So we want to go for observing not only atmosphere for few days forecast, but also in the ocean for few weeks and months forecast, seasonal forecast. Suppose if you want to go for monsoon, next monsoon, how good it will be. Mainly that clue will come from ocean, because as I told, atmosphere is having very short memory, which will not be able to predict. So we want to globally now everybody is going for Earth system approach forecast. For that, we are also gearing up for observing in all the three or all the five spheres, various components and how it is interacting with the various component in different time scales. That's what we are looking at it, observe objective. So in under this, our mission basically, it is not only weather forecast we are aiming, because when we are thinking about 2047, ultimately, first, of course, we have to give the best possible services for weather forecast, or maybe not only weather, but also in the climate scale, we have to give the forecast, not only land, air, and sea, and we need to go beyond that. For that, actually, what is that beyond that is basically we want to go from weather forecast to weather management. Actually, what is weather management? Because weather forecast, in between weather modification, then weather management. Basic thing is we have presently weather is managing us. Whether we can manage weather, that is the thing. That means when you have opponent, we should know better than him. For that, we need to understand more intricate, more actually what are the process or what are the things, especially the opponent, we need to understand more. For that, we need to have more observation. For that, we need to have more science and other things. So that is what we are aiming for it. For that, we are having four approach to four areas. Basically, we want to strengthen the observation, not only in situ, but also remote sensing, both the radars and satellites. And we need to better understanding, because we need to have a more and more science understanding about the Mother Earth. And we need to have more and innovation and also methodology for understanding the various components And we need to improve finally our model. Whatever we understand, that you put into the model so that we can go for prediction, not only spatial, very high resolution spatial scale, but also temporal scale. And we need to assimilate whatever the data is there, because this weather forecast is basically initial value problem. When you have a better observation, the initial value you reduce the error, then the error growth will be less, so that we can have a better prediction. That's why we need to have more and more data, more and more observation we need to assimilate. Of course, if you want to have more data to assimilate, you need more compute power. So there also we are going for, now we started with this CPU based computing. Now we are going for GPU based, because AIML and other things we are going. Now maybe now we have to go for quantum computing. So we have to seamlessly in the computing also we need to go in that directions. And finally, we need to go for forecast dissemination, the effective communication with society. That is more important, because it is not only produce the output, but also how do you communicate. Can you communicate with various social media? So now we are thinking of MoSum GPT. Maybe the next version very soon it will come, the MoSum GPT, where you can get the forecast. Of course, we have now, I don't know how many of you have MoSum app in your app. It is a really best one. Please, if you are not installed, please install and MoSum app. You will get wherever you go, it will be able to tell the weather in that one. Even not only weather, it is air quality, as well as the next 10 days, what is the forecast. Not only that, even entire India, what is the rainfall happening, where it is happening, all this information is available in MoSum app. But now we are going for some GPT level in that one. So basically, ultimately, we are going with like a UN. UN also started with the early warning for all. That means nobody should not, that means everyone should get weather information. That is a final outgo. Even a village or maybe high-five people are going left and right here and there. Everybody has to get the weather, and that reachability is more important. So we need to reach the common man when he is in the field. If he is having not having a smartphone, how he has to get the access. So that is also we are working out how he can get the access of weather information. Maybe he may know only to dial the button 1 2 3. If he has done, then we have to get the weather information from server, and we have to translate the local language, and we have to deliver where he got it, dialed it. From that location we have to identify, and accordingly that language we have to convert and send the weather information for that particular field. So that also we are working on it, and it is various ways we have to communicate. That's what we are planning in the so as I mentioned, that weather modification. So first one is weather forecast. We have to improve at different scale. That means tomorrow how it will be, next week how it will be, next month how it will be, next season how it will be, next year, and next decade, and next century. So all the time scale how it will be, that we have to give. Apart from that, we want to have some intervention in the weather. Why we have to intervention the weather? As you all know that under the warming world, when the climate change is happening fast, now the weather system is changing rapidly. Extreme weathers are increasing, and the light rains are reducing, heavy rains are increasing. Some places it has become drought, some places between flooded. So we have to have some imbalance is happening. So that we need to do something, weather intervention. Suppose if it is a hail is going to come here, in mainly, especially in Himachal, last year they were continuously they were asking, whenever there is hailstorm, the entire apple tree, everything is collapsed. So can we suppress the hail? That is just possible. So how do we, suppressing is easier than enhancing. So but whether we can attempt. So we are trying to do that type of weather modification in terms of various things. Maybe the lightning is frequency is going to, alarmly is going to be higher in the coming years, and whether we can suppress the lightning. So there are various ways in the cloud seeding. For cloud seeding is not only for enhancement, but also it is for dispersion, it is possible. And various influence, maybe whether we can do various intervention, whether we can do with the nature system. Of course, we need to have a ethical consideration to that also. And once we do the weather modification, then we can go for weather management. So for that, we need to go for, first, as I mentioned, whether improve the weather forecast and modify the weather patterns, then strategic measures, then safeguarding against that. Then can we think of whether even warfare consideration. So whether they can use the clouds or anything for warfare or any other purpose. So there are many things it is available, so we can think of that one. Of course, we need to address the ethical and geopolitical consideration when we are doing that purpose. So this is the way we are going for, from weather forecast to weather management in the atmospheric science. And for that, we have a larger umbrella. So how we have to target for next 5 years and other things. So that's what we call mission MoES. Under this now is a pilot project started for next 5 years. So we want to have augmentation of various radars. Maybe by next 1 or 2 years, we will have entire country will be populated with hundreds of radar, and no weather system will be unnoticed in India. Either if it is a cloud, small cloud burst or small system which cannot be unnoticed by India by next within 1 or 2 years after installation of this one. So under the mission motion, we have a lot of ambitious things in terms of increasing the observations, improving the observations. It is not only observation, but also computational power and also satellites, new satellites. Also, we want to go for weather intervention for that aircraft and other things. So this is a very big ambitious plan, and that we are going to make it operational. Of course, the pilot phase we already started this year. Maybe the next 5 years we will go for a much one order higher scale in the coming years. So now I just to dwell upon a little bit of in the ocean. So just a take-home message is weather forecast to weather management. That is the first aspect. In that aspect, how it will be for the India's growth journey, that is a very long thing further. You see how now presently now, for example, power sector. If you are having the weather forecast, at least the wind and solar energy, if you are able to give better forecast, I think it is a big benefit. And also if you have agriculture product. So in that way, we have to improve various sectors, how we can contribute. So coming back to ocean, our objective is mainly to maximize the present GDP of blue. The blue comes from ocean-related aspect to the GDP is roughly about 4% of the GDP is contributing to the national. Now, how we can double or maybe double digit? So that is the main objective of this vision. So we want to have a sustainable utilization of ocean resources because we need to ocean resources for economic growth of the country. However, you keep the health, safety, and diversity of the ecosystem intact. So where we need to harness the resources, what are the harnesses? It is many more are there. Just I will highlight what are in this vision, what are our plan and what is we are thinking doing. When I start, of course, in this it is there. So ocean, basically provides oceans of opportunity. But at the same time, it is having a seas of challenges. So we need to navigate between the opportunities and challenges. What are the opportunities? We know that it is 72% of the Earth's surface. It feeds us in terms of fisheries and protein available. It regulates weather and climate. Without ocean, we cannot regulate climate scale. Only weather can be managed within few days in the atmosphere. But when you talk about climate beyond week scale, then the ocean is important. And it generates half of the oxygen what we breathe. Every alternative breath has come from the ocean because of the phytoplankton. So that much resources available oxygen. Then largest carbon sink, and it provides both living and non-living resources. And also it is tourism and recreation, maritime transport. 90% of the volume of material is transported through shipping. So maritime transport, and of course it is very important security and coastal protections. Even though if these resources are maybe whatever the opportunities are there, but what we know is very little. Only 5% of the ocean, not only deep, but also in deep water, but it's in the surface, we very know little. So we need to understand more. And for that, we are exploring more and more in the coming years. When I talk about the opportunities, the challenges, some of the three challenges. One is non-climatic stress. Other one is a climatic stress. And the third one is technological stress, that is challenges. Maybe we don't have technology, even though there is a highly resource available. But I don't have a technology to harness. One such thing is maybe gas hydrates in the ocean, Bay of Bengal. So we have resources, plenty of resources available, but I don't have a technology to harness. So we have a challenge. And also we have a policy, security, and many other challenges are there apart from climatic and non-climatic stress facing by the ocean. And when you come back to India, if you say, of course, we have a EEZ area of more than 2 million square kilometer, and coastline and coastal states and major ports and minor ports. And all these things, of course, we have a fish, food actually, fisheries potential, energy, and minerals and water and transportation, as I mentioned, it is 90% of the trade volume, and 65% by value. In terms of value, it is by through sea. That is what transport. So we need to have a, how we have to do for optimum routing of shipping, whether we can do, suppose anybody ship want to go from Chennai to Singapore, is it way to go straight line, or it has to go through winds and currents? You have to give a path, you have to make optimum ship routing, you have to plan. So that is why science has to provide the ship routing and other things. So just to quickly highlight what are the new avenues apart from that. Suppose what we need to do. Suppose I am thinking of the GDP has to go almost double or maybe double digit. For that, what are the avenues? One is food. We need to promote deep sea fishing, and we need to go for seaweed and seagrass, artificial reef, and also we need to go for fish aggregation device and mariculture activities we have to strengthen. And southern ocean fisheries, we are not at all touched. And the entire southern ocean fisheries, the ecosystem does have 50% of the protein is available in southern ocean, the entire global ocean, but we have not touched it. So I think we need to, that is why we have imported an Antarctic bill. One of the important components is the southern ocean fisheries. So camellar and other things. And also we need to go for various understanding of various processes, how the ecosystem migrating, because now under the global warming scenario, the tropical species are migrating to mid-latitudes, and the mid-latitude species migrating to polar regions. So what is its impact? So all these things we need to understand. Food. When you talk about energy, it is a very untapped energies are plenty. Roughly, it is, we have recently estimated about 900 what is called exawatt. It is about 9 lakh terawatt powers are available in the ocean. So there are many things. You take it, tidal energy, solar energy, ocean current energy, thermal energy, wave energy, offshore wind energy, salinity gradient energy. All these energies are available. Some of the things, technologies are available, but it is not economically viable. Some, it is not even technology available. So we need to do that. But I think now already we have started with offshore wind energy and ocean thermal energy. We are working on it. And there are various avenues. Now the solar panel energy has come. Why we are wave rating solar panel? 1 kilometer solar panel, you throw it, whenever you require, you take it out, and that will produce a huge amount of megawatt of power. So why we cannot use that? And that is indirect effect of ecosystem growth also will happen. When you put a solar panel in an alternative panel, you put solar and other area is open, then you will get a ecosystem improvement in terms of algal growth and other things. So there are multiple ways we need to what is called harness the energy. And when we talk about freshwater, we have developed one unique freshwater technology, basically converting water, that means salt water to fresh water. It is a very simple technology. It is basically the surface water is 28 degree in the ocean. Now it will, any water, it will evaporate at 100 degree in atmospheric pressure at this atmospheric pressure. But you reduce the atmospheric pressure, the 28 degree water will evaporate. The evaporated water, you take it out and condense it with the cold water is available in the subsurface. So you will get a fresh water. This is unique technology, but it looks very simple, but it can provide all the three categories. All the three categories means it will produce water, and whenever this fresh water, it is steam has come out from the chamber, you can tap it and it can put a turbine there because it is very high pressure evaporated water. You put a turbine, you can produce energy, and the subsurface, whatever is there, 1 kilometer, you are bringing up the subsurface to the surface water, and you, after cooling, you allow it in the surface, then it will produce, it will bring the highest nutrient rich water to the surface. Because it is highest nutrient water is coming to the surface, you are able to get nutrient-rich water, and thereby ecosystem will grow. That means fisheries will grow. So that means you get food, energy, and water. This is unique technologies developed by us, and it is, of course, it is having some negative things. We cannot go far away because the cold water and as well as warm water has to be get nearby. That's why it is very good for Ireland, but we need to work out how we can make use of in the coastal regions. And of course, minerals from the ocean. Of course, I'm mainly concentrated on minerals. Means I'm only looking at the deep water. That means away from EEZ. Mainly, we got the polymetallic nodules as well as polymetallic sulfides. So where it is there, we have explored, and we are looking at where's the exact location available, how much abundance, how much estimated potential available. We are looking at it. Still, we don't have a what is called environmental protocol. So once it is environmental protocol is available, then from exploration to exploitation will start. As of now, it is only exploration of mineral resources. Then the shipping, as I mentioned, that maritime transport, we have what is called India. Of course, India is one of the busy international shipping lines. Of course, in Indian Ocean, basically most of the shipping line is through Indian Ocean, and we have major ports. And basically, we need to think about how efficiently we have to manage the shipping resources, how the transport, maybe optimum ship routing, and major ports and minor ports, how we need to do, where we need to do, all these things we need to look at it. And coastal ecotourism, actually this tourism we are not we are not ventured, especially coastal. Even India is having such a big coastline, but we don't have even oceanarium or coastal ecotourism sites and all other things. I think it is imperative that we need to go for coastal ecotourism, and also we have a lot of geoheritage all along the coast, so that we can make a tourism spots and other things. We need to think about that one. Apart from blue flag accreditation of many beaches or many waters that we need to, basically we need to encourage the ecotourism, basically coastal ecotourism. Then marine trade and services, basically MSME I'm talking about, all along the coast. Not industries are not there. We are planning to have for, I think MoEF is coming out with MoEF and CC, marine spatial planning. That means entire coastline, what we need to build, what we should not build, where we need to plant the mangrove, where we need to build the infrastructure, where we need to build the port, where we need to build various corals and other things. So all the along the coast, it is planned. There already it is started. We are already 2-3 states is completed. We are planning like a town planning. We are planning in coastal planning. So that is coastal marine spatial planning, which is being done. So once it is done, then we need to think about how small things, even for what is called net making or fish hook, everything, small industry can make it, but we are importing now because that industry is not there. Everything is, you take go for coastal area, any net or everything, it is Chinese made products. So why we cannot start our own industries to make such a small products that we need to start all along the coast, the marine trade and services, especially MSC based, MSME like that. And of course, the marine security, and also we need to have a engagement with international mechanism, and we need to have a policy well integrated. Basically, what I mean here is basically we are working on isolation. Even our Navy and our ocean scientists are working in isolation. They don't talk each other. I think it is imperative they have to talk each other, learn each other, so that we need to protect our ocean resources and mitigation, all other things apart from our security. So we need to share the knowledge, and we need to work with the international community so that we can have a key technology and other things we need to develop. Ultimately, we need to go for, see, since our Indian Ocean is named after India, at least we should be justified for that. For that purpose, we need to have as a global South leader, can we contribute entire Indian Ocean, what kind of service and maybe science and other things we can think of it, especially for the small or island nations, for them we have to support. And also we need to go for many new innovations and other things need to think about in over the periods. And ultimately human capital, development of human capital is very important, because we need to, when we are going for more and more technology, resources and understanding, we need to develop more human resource in terms of science and engineering people in these areas. And also we know that most of the things in the oceanic hazards, it is generating. So we need to either cyclone, tsunami, or coastal flooding, or storm surge. All these things we need to understand very well, so that we need to have a better forecast, so that we need to have better preparedness, so that we need to have a mitigation mechanism for such hazards. That is also important, so that we can have not only life but also property we can save in that aspect. So what in that ocean, what is the thing way forward is there? Of course, we need to observe, and we have to plan marine spatial planning, especially in the coastal area. And we need to resource mapping we have to do, not only non-living resources and living resources we need to map, and we need to develop a technology, and also we need to develop a technology as well as the information for mitigating the oceanic hazards. And ultimately we need to have a better ocean, especially clean, healthy, productive, as well as predictable and safe ocean for all of the human being. So this is what we have key deliverable which we have planned for 2047. It is basically we want to at least double the GDP of present, so that we can grow in various sense. Of course, keeping the sustainability in place, and also we have to have a mitigation measures of various oceanic hazards. Under this, so we have developed a new pilot project. That pilot project is Deep Ocean Mission. So in the ocean, the longer vision is blue economy contribution to GDP. Under that, how do we start that blue economy contribution? For that, what is the infrastructure required? How do we build for that? That is what the Deep Ocean Mission. Under that, we have roughly about 6 verticals. One is to develop technology. Other one is the ocean climate change advisory, and also marine station for ocean biology. It is for blue biotechnology or drug from the sea, that aspect, and energy and freshwater from the ocean, and deep ocean survey of exploration, mainly for mineral resources exploration, and also exploration of deep sea biodiversity, mainly for fisheries and other resources in living resources. So these are the 6 verticals. Interestingly, these 6 verticals now we have made last 2 years roughly about more than 100 universities, as well as more than 50, at least 50 institutions are working together. Kashmir to Kanyakumari, as well as from east to west, all the people, many of the universities, it is not that they have to develop some product or anything, but we want to marine ecosystem has to improve in India for the human capital. For that, we have instituted at least more than a few hundreds of projects all over India, so that they are working together for the Deep Ocean Mission. Then I will just dwell upon a little, I have to be faster, maybe if I know the time, how much time I need? 20 minutes. Okay. So now in the next sphere, of course, one is atmosphere, then ocean, then cryosphere. In the cryospheric component, as you all know, that the cryosphere, when you're talking about, it is the first area where respond to climate change. It is a faster, it is depleting, and this is the first signal you get it from cryosphere, how the global warming is happening or climate change is happening. So this is an important place where we need to understand and also monitor, and also try to see how we can equip with that one. It is not only for climate change, but also we need to have for geopolitics and geostrategy, we need to think about in this aspect. That is why we need to work on this aspect. So what is our vision? Basically is to emerge as a leader in polar science through various science and operations, to understand and address the climate change and various strategic issues. So all the 3 poles we are looking at holistically, basically how the cryospheric component changes over the time, and various aspects, not only physics but also biology and chemistry and various aspects. And why polar region? Of course, many of you know that, because this is basically a polar region is nothing but you can say it's a global barometer or global thermometer. So once you monitor there, you can see the health of the planet, you can understand very well, and it is whole fresh water of solid form, and it is the largest carbon sink. And also, Himalaya is having 1.9 billion people are dependent on Himalayan rivers. When it is changing, still we don't know what is the volume available. So, but we are continuously using how long we can use it, what is the change is happening. And also it is maybe a lot of biodiversities and also life adaptation, how the animals and plants are living in that cold environment, and whether we can use and understand the DNA structure, eDNA, and various aspects it has been looked at it. And finally, we have to think about geopolitical and geostatic strategic importance we need to understand. And as you know, this Antarctica, India is having presently about 2 stations, and it is a huge refrigerator, and it is a natural laboratory, and the life forms exist in differently there, and it is the youngest discovered continent. And there only there is it is a, of course the climate is not agreed, and it is a science is the currency for the Antarctica, and it is a natural laboratory. And there are many areas, interesting areas to understand what is going on in that. And you all know that the average thickness of the ice in Antarctica is roughly about 2 to 3 kilometers. And there are about 70 number of stations. It is presently permanent, that means throughout the year. And there are about roughly about 4,000 scientists work in Antarctica throughout the year, sorry, in the summer, and in winter about roughly about 1,200 people working in that. An Indian station, as you know, that Dakshin Dangalpuri, this is the first station, but it is no more now. It is buried under the ice. And this second station, Maitri, it is in 1990 it is built, and Bharati, it is very new, and it is one of the state-of-the-art Bharati station. Of course, I'm glad that Dr. Rasik Ravindra is there. He is the one who built that Bharati, and it is a entire station you talk about in Antarctica. They tell Antarctica means, they tell the station means Indian station. That unique it is. It is one of the models. I can say that always I used to tell that the Bharati station is 5-star hotel, whereas Maitri is our typical village. So it will talk about huge volume of information on that. So why India is in Antarctica? What is the purpose? Of course, as I mentioned that Earth system process are significantly influenced by the poles in different time scale. And also it is there are a lot of linkage between poles and tropics, especially in the monsoon, especially in the Southern Ocean, how it is heat is absorbed, the Southern Ocean heat and Indian heat, that gradient will depend on the monsoon winds. So that is why more important the Southern Ocean. And also it is some of the curiosity driven questions it addresses, especially biology, geology, and life in extreme weather. I mean, geology and geophysics means in Gondwana time, how India and Antarctica are together and how it has separated. And now the present, of course, the Bharati station is one of the place where India, Mahanadi and Brits Bay, together it is joined together in that time. So now it is separated out. So we are looking at what is historical as well as the curiosity driven questions we are trying to address. And also the big questions what we have aimed is only why poles lose ice mass, and how will this change in the future, what is we need to equip, and what are the impacts of mainly the sea level rise in the coastal region as well as the weather patterns in India. So just to summarize, what we are doing is basically we are looking at Antarctic ice and sediment core. We are bringing and reconstruct the climate, and also we are looking at the various anthropogenic activities, what is happening there in the lake system, and also we have quantified various glaciers, how it is changing over the period, and in the Southern Ocean, how the upper ocean heat is changing over the period, and how the microbial diversity is both bacteria and yeast is changing, and how the overall the environment in Antarctica, how it is changing. Of course, more than now 45 expeditions so far has been taken place, and each expedition, I think maybe you can say that about 100 scientists go there and do 50 people come out, and remaining 50 will be there in 2 stations. Then coming to the Arctic, when you are talking about Arctic, of course, the Antarctic and Arctic is only, you all know that Antarctic is land surrounded by the ocean, whereas Arctic is sea surrounded by the land. So this is very different characteristics. Of course, it is surrounded by land. The ice sheet, whatever is in Greenland, is melting very fast. Roughly about 7 meter sea level. If the entire Greenland melts, sea level, global sea level rise will be about 7 meter. If entire Antarctic ice melts, of course, it will not soon, but if it melts roughly about maybe 56 to 70 meter rise will be there. So that is the level of fresh water exists in the poles. And permafrost and polar bear and various life system, how it is changing. But what is happening in Arctic is, if it is Arctic melts over the period, what is happening is globally Arctic is warming much faster than the global mean. How much? It is roughly about 4 times or 4-degree increase when compared to the 4 times faster than global mean. Suppose if it is increase in global mean about 1 degree, we are talking about 1 century, but there it is 4 degree. So it is warming faster, and because it is warming faster, the feedback loop is so fast, so it is depleting more and more every year by year. So I personally feel there are 4 aspects when Arctic is melting is happening. One is the climate change. Because of the climate change, what India will make it. As many of you know that India affects in the Arctic sea ice. What it is affect is, whenever you have a heavy precipitation in India, the heat will be released in the atmosphere because of the rain, extreme rain. That heat all the way it goes to the Arctic. Then it will go down, then it will melt the sea ice. So whenever you can extreme rainfall is happening, you can note down there after 7 to 8 days or maybe 2 weeks time scale. Within 2 weeks, you can see the Arctic ice melts. Now more and more Arctic ice melts in that season, any of the season or any of the year. If there, or you can say that if Arctic sea ice is less, there is no Arctic sea ice, then our extreme rainfall will be huge. Or you can say that the sea ice reduction will impact the extreme rainfall will be more in India. Then again, it is extreme rainfall more means more heat transported to Arctic, then more sea ice loss, then more extreme. So this feedback loop is continuous. That is why we are worried about in more in Arctic, especially when we are talking about climate change. That means day-to-day weather pattern changes in the monsoon and other things. So that is why we are more worried about Arctic. Second aspect is resources. When you're talking about resources, there are 2 things. One is fisheries and another one is oil and gas. So both resources, first non-living resources, the oil and gas and minerals are very rich in the Central Arctic because of the churning of the Earth's rotation, the rotational aspect. The Central Arctic is having pipe. That means both oil reserve as well as mineral reserves are very huge. So once it is melted, then that is available for extraction. But what is the impact? That is different. But there is a resource content is available in the Arctic. And the third aspect is the northern optimum ship routing. That means ship routing. Now, for example, now the time consuming for going from Korea to maybe Europe, it takes about 50 days. And once this Arctic sea ice is not there, then it will be roughly about 35 days. So that much gain will be there both in terms of fuel and time. So that is the impact. And the last aspect is living resources. Basically, what happened, as I mentioned earlier, the tropical species in the global warming scenario, the tropical species is migrating to the mid latitude, and mid latitude species going to the polar regions. Now the ecosystem in the polar regions are starved of protein. But now, once the global warming or sea ice reduction is happened, then the fisheries productivity or fisheries resources also will be higher in that. So you have living resources, you have non-living resources, you have a shipping corridor. It's going to change if it is a sea level sea ice reduction, and also we are going to face the monsoon pattern, extreme weather, and other things. All these 4 criteria we are worried about Arctic. That is why we want to understand the Arctic better. Also in various other aspects, also geopolitics and other geostrategy also inbuilt in here too. So this is just again I repeated. So non-living resources, The blue one, what I have mentioned, it is what you can extract. It is 30% of the oil, 30% of natural gas, 20% of natural gas liquids. This is available. But the red one is what is the negative disadvantage. Wave condition will be strengthened because sea ice's reduction is there, wave will be more. Then how do you extract the energy, or how do you that you have to prepare for? And also shipping, northern ship route and other things. But the marine ecosystem will degrade. And when you are talking about minerals, of course, you have a lot of minerals in the central Arctic, but the thawing permafrost, erosion likely to increase, and it will have a new challenges to face. Fishing, of course, the growth of global catch in the polar region will be increasing, and tourism will be improved because more and more sea ice reduction, you have improved access to the ports and longer coastal areas and seasons there. But their disadvantage is Arctic wildlife and landscape and the ecosystem will degrade in that. And there are about social and political impacts too, because it is circumpolar societies will be affected, and also the local economics will change in the Arctic region, and traditional means of transportation will be changing, and also diet and identity of local community also will change in social aspect. And also there are about various political aspect also will change in that ICI's reductions. This is what I was mentioning about polar navigation. When the sea ice reduction is happened, how various routes will form, start navigating. This is just a rough estimate in one area. Suppose you want to go from one place to another. In the particular, basically it is, I think it's a Korea to Rotterdam. If you want to go, and if the sea ice is not there, then you can reach by 18 days. If it is you want to go, if sea ice is there, you have to go via Indian Ocean, then it will take about roughly 28 days. This is a rough estimate for ship routing. Now, in this ship routing also, if the ship corridor is changes, suppose now the Singapore is the hub for the shipping. Now, this corridor will maybe change it to Iceland. If it goes to Iceland, what is our views or what is our strategy? What we need to do? Of course, one way we can think of it, Indian Ocean less in traffic. So our ecosystem will improve. But how much? What is that? That is what we need to understand. And this I already mentioned in terms of Arctic warming, what are the climate change will impact. Mainly when we are talking about climate change, three important things. One is surface temperature warming, decreasing sea ice, and also sea level rise. This all the three is due to this Arctic. Because of the Arctic. The influence is very high because of the Arctic things. That's why we are more interested in Arctic. Of course, we have Indian station in Arctic in Svalbard, in Himadri, in New Ellison, where we mainly concentrate on the ocean. In the fjord region, we put a what is called subsurface mooring, and we are trying to monitor the ocean, how it is changing. And also we are having various atmospheric parameters in the Indian Arctic station, and also biology and permafrost and other things we are looking at in various aspects. Earlier we were doing only in the summer. Now from last year onwards, we are able to go for throughout the year. Our Indian scientists will be there in the Arctic. Initially, we started with the Svalbard. Now last 2 years back, we have started with Canadian Arctic. Now we are venturing into Greenland. So we want to go for pan-Arctic approach. Our visibility, our understanding, everything we want to expand. And these are some of the science questions we need to address. Of course, this is linked to various aspects. How does weather changes, and how the monsoon pattern changes, and how what is called coastline changes because of the sea level rise, especially land ice melt and sea level rise, and biodiversity and microbiology, how it is changing, and various glaciological aspect in the Himalayas and other regions. Of course, the third one is the Himalaya in the pole region. Of course, it is also melting glacier, extreme event and disaster risk, because it is a lot of cascading disasters that are happening in Himalaya. First landslide, then glow, then flooding. So all these things are cascading things are happening in terms of disaster. Whereas the resource perspective, this is a glacier. How much water mass is there? We don't know. We need to understand how much water reserve is available, because this Himalayan water has been consumed by, as I mentioned, it is about more than 1.9 billion people. If it is going on depleting, what is our plan of action. That's what we need to worry about. Of course, for that, we have our station in Vimarsh in Spiti, roughly about 4 kilometers above mean sea level, and various observations we are trying to do in the Vimarsh, especially how the glaciers are changing with the different season, within the season, as well as in the year to year, how it is varying, uh, the glaciers as well as the sea ice, snow and other purpose. And these are some of the questions we want to address regarding the Himalaya, basically in long-term monitoring, how the mass balance or the heat balance, how it is changing, and how the hydrological balance is changing. And also we want to see various aspects, especially the debris-covered glaciers, how it is changing when compared to clean glacier and other aspects. And just one slide about the Southern Ocean, as I mentioned about, we are having from northern side to Southern Ocean, everywhere we have a various observing as well as understanding aspect. And the Southern Ocean is very important because, as I mentioned, that this is a modulation for the monsoon. So that is why one. Second thing is fishery resources. Fishery resources, especially the Kamalar area, 60 degrees south of Antarctic waters, the grill fisheries and tooth fisheries are very abundant. And as I told, this is a 50% of the protein, entire global protein. If you take it about marine protein, 50% is available only in the Southern Ocean, but it is untapped. So we need to go for tapping. So for that, we need to understand various biological pump and physical pump in that area. So broadly speaking, these are some of the polar science. When you talk, we want to address some of the science questions like how Antarctica ice sheet has changed and how India and Antarctica connection in the past, and from what we learned from that, and how do we reconstruct the past history from sediments and explore and determine teleconnection and ecosystem response, and also space weather and its linkage to the solar storms and sea ice variability. These are some of the science questions we want to address. At the same time, these are the policy related. How the Indian polar strategy or policy has to be evolved, and India should actively be involved in Arctic, both the science as well as in economic perspective, in Antarctica also. In all these aspects, why I mentioned that 2040 is a polar decade, as I always say that the first one is Arctic. In 2040, 43 to 45, the summer sea ice will be not there, as of the prediction says. So in 2040s, there is no summer sea ice. And 2048, of course, the Antarctica Treaty is formally is ending that in 2048. If it is so, what is the future course of action? Though they may continue, but what is our plan? We need to think about it. And then third aspect, 2040s, is the Himalayan glaciers, how much it will be depleted. Because now the accumulation of snow as well as the runoff, the snow is less than runoff. If that is the goes on, do that in 2048, what is the water reservoir is availability? These three important things in 2040s will be a major role. At the same time, we are also thinking about Viksit Bharat. So we need to have our narrative, especially about polar affairs. What is the India we have to think in terms of Arctic, Antarctic, Himalaya? We need to build our narrative in geopolitics as well as geostrategy. Of course, we need to have our own polar ambassador. That much we need to, because it is a global international affair. So we need to have more importance in this aspect. And the last sphere I will talk about only geosphere. Basically, it is a mineral resources, land and ocean. What are the resources or availability? In terms of geology, we want to address many of the curiosity-driven questions apart from resources. And in terms of, if you talk about the geophysics, we need to go for earthquake, because there is no science as of now to predict the earthquake, whereas we need to, of course, we need to go ahead how to predict. So as of now, it is possible an early earthquake warning. That is basically how fast we can get once the earthquake has happened, the primary wave will come first. The secondary wave is the mainly, that means the impacted wave. That is the actual pressure wave that will damage the earthquake. Before that, at least few seconds are available. Basically, early earthquake warning, whether we can give, that means few seconds before earthquake damage, can you tell, alert? At least you switch off the train or many of the electrical system or anything. whether we can give early earthquake. That is our main objective in the coming years. And as I mentioned, that seismology, we are looking at earthquake risk resilient. Basically, we want to have a liquefaction map, as well as we want to have set up more and more seismometers, accelerometers, so that we understand various things. As of now, we can give, once the earthquake happen, within 3 minutes, 3 magnitude, we will be able to tell. But we need to go at least to 2 magnitude within a minute. Then only we will be able to do for early earthquake warning. For that, we are augmenting almost, it has to go for 1 order magnitude higher than what we have. That is what we are aiming for. And also we have set up the borehole observatory. Basically, this is, we have drilled up to 3-kilometer deep borehole. So we put up various sensors. So before earthquake comes, is there any signal is coming in the deep borehole? So now we are planning to go for much deeper than 3-kilometer, so that we fit up various instruments. So we want to monitor any precursors are available from the deep borehole or not, so that it can be used for the prediction of aspect, especially earthquake. So these are some of the vision we are thinking in the atmosphere. As I mentioned, I summarize the atmosphere, basically weather forecast, weather management. In the ocean, we want to go for blue economy to double the contribution of present things. And the polar region, we want to go for leader and significant player in polar affairs. And geoscience, we want to go for early earthquake warning, also for exploration of non-living resources, both in the ocean and land. And for that, we need to observe, understand, model, and products and services we need to generate. For that, again, we do science and translate that science to services for the benefit of society. So these are our thought process, but I look forward your feedback and your questions and comments, and I will be very happy to address your questions. And more importantly, I want your feedback. These are also has to be considered, or maybe some of the positive things which I have forgotten here. Thank you very much.
So friends, you had a very comprehensive and a very clear presentation how the earth sciences and the 5 spheres that he mentioned are linked with our well-being and prosperity. And I think a few years ago, we used to ask this question, why, even in the geopolitical circles, Arctic ka kya matlab hai? Why are we going there, Antarctica also? But I think today's presentation should have convinced everyone why this is so very important. And not just that, but you have linked up with all the other spheres. So that is why I think we need a comprehensive and a holistic look. And I'm very happy that, reassured actually, that your ministry is now setting up this infrastructure for the next 20, 30 years. And also, I think his presentation underlined one more point. We talk glibly about India 2047, developed countries, etc. But there's so many things that have to fall in place. And this is just one example. Earth sciences, science in general, and of course many other things. They have all to fall in place, and we have to make that investment now to reap the benefit. Because the trends for the next 20 years, the global trends are very, very negative. The climatic trends are very negative. Resources trends are very negative. So there's a lot of negativity which is going on. So we have to build that resilience, and resilience through science, but also through policy. So thank you, Ravichandran ji. Very grateful that you made this presentation. A lot of food for thought here. But now I'll open this for any. And also I want to welcome, I didn't see you there, Rasik Ravindra ji. In fact, he's one of those early Indians, fortunate ones who actually visited the Antarctica. And of course, he's a leading scientist, very well-known figure. And his name was mentioned also. In fact, some of our youngsters should certainly shake hands with him, because he's a, one of those pioneers in this field. So thank you for being with us. So the floor is open now for any comments, questions. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Ravi sir. Dr. Daniel from your side.
And then Delhi.
Good afternoon, Ravi sir. Dr. Daniel from USI. Compared to China, even Pakistan, India is playing a little bit behind in ISA, International Seabed Authority, number one, taking place. And these people are playing technical, and Pakistan is playing policy level with their backup, holding their Secretary General. And then this is in the blue one, and in the rare earth metal processing the material to magnet, China is playing far ahead. Though the role of a magnet in the quantifying less than $1 trillion, but the market influence is a pretty vast, and we are also behind in that one. When we will catch the race, sir?
Okay, we'll take a few questions. Otherwise, if you don't mind, just one round of questions. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Dr. Ravichandran, the way
Please
we
introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Dr. Sarvjit Dudeja, and the way you just talked about climate change, it is said that if there is an increment of 1.5 or 2 degree temperature, most of the coastal cities will be sinking, and country like Tonlu and Maldives and many countries may sink also. So can we counter this problem
Okay.
in scientific way?
Okay. Yes, please.
My name is Dr. Vijay Rai, retired from Central Health Service. One comment, one feedback and one question. The feedback is that you said that earth sciences are very much linked to energy and health. I would say that it should be promoted that these are linked to life as a whole, the life on the subcontinent. And accordingly, in the policy, the importance must go to the Ministry for Sciences. And my question is that this deep sea trawling is supposed to be very detrimental to the ocean and the biodiversity of the ocean. Are these aspects also under your control? If yes, what is your ministry doing about it? Thank you.
Any of the youngsters here want to ask a question? Yes, please.
So it's not a question, but more of a comment or feedback. When I entered, I think the conversation was about simplifying the science and making it accessible to policymakers and social sciences. And I would like to also highlight that if MoES could have a policy brief on the science that they have uncovered, which is basically a very simple version of it. This will not only help integrate social sciences into it, because of course all of us read the publications by government authorities, but other ministries which MoES is not able to sectorally work with can also read those publications, and that can fall into their outputs. For example, the AO of the ICJ, which was released yesterday, India could have done a lot more in their outputs had the science been much more easier. So that.
Don't you want to ask about Antarctica or deep sea oceans? So many things you heard today.
I do have questions, but I would.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
All right. One last in this round, and then yeah, please.
Good evening, sir. My name is Satya Vijay, working in Lok Sabha Secretariat Research Division. Sir, you have talked about the development of marine station Bharti and Maitri, where all 3-4 stations India is planning to develop in the Antarctica and Ocean Sea. I want to know that what are the government of India or step taken by the ministry to reduce the pollution, where there is a loss of due to pollution, loss of marine species. It is a very endangered to them. Thank you, sir.
Okay. You'll take this round.
Okay.
It's working. It's closer. It's working. Closer to the mic. Yeah.
So first one you talked about ISA.
Yeah.
Okay. See, the first one ISA you were talking about. I think there are in UNCLOS, one is ISA International Seabed Authority, other one is a continental shelf climb. You are talking about which one? I don't know, because in ISA there is no word of Pakistan. We may be talking about other aspect. But having said that, when compared to China or maybe in the UNCLOS, Pakistan is not much player. We are much more ahead of that one, because this is non-player in ISA, I can say. And we have climbed so many areas in Indian Ocean. They have not climbed anything. Of course, China in what is called, they have climbed many locations in the Seabed Authority. Whereas CLCS is another aspect, continental self climbing. That is, Pakistan has climbed and we are also climbing. That is a different aspect. So I don't know exactly what is that you are asking for, ISA or CLCS. That I am not able to get. But if it is ISA, definitely International Seabed Authority, definitely we are much ahead. Pakistan nowhere. That is one thing. And other one you are talking about mineral magnet. Yeah, that is of course this is a technology. So of course they are far ahead than us. It is not only magnet; it is availability of resources. So our resources are in terms of uh, what is called ferrous magnet of magnetic substance as well as various mineral resources very less when compared to other countries. So we cannot aim that one. Once we get the resources, then definitely we will be able to do. That is the thing. That is, we are not far ahead than this. We have a technology, but resources availability is we have to explore. That's it. And second thing is coastal erosion and sea level rise. Someone asked this one. See, we cannot counter. Basically, how do we adapt? How do we equip? How do we mitigate? That is what we have to see. Okay, we cannot venture and see that sea level rise is going for 3 mm per year. So we cannot what is called reduce that. We can very difficult. Reduce means you have to reduce the glacier melt. For that again it is a big problem. But only thing is we know where it is going to change. In 100 years, how our coastline is going to change, how our morphology is going to change. If it is going to change, that location you should not venture in any industry or port or infrastructure. So we need to avoid that. So better preparedness is more important than counter the impact. And the other one is, of course, I agree that it is not only that life energy. Of course, it is true that it is not only energy, water, and various things. It is saving the life entirely. Of course, it is not only Ministry of Earth Sciences. Everybody will finally link to life. So that's important things. And some question addressed on deep sea trawling. Of course, deep sea trawling, see, basically any fisheries or any trawling or anything, we need to have a sustainability in place. That's why where we need to trawl, where it is sustainability is ensured, there only we have to go. In India, when compared to any other countries, deep sea trawling is absolutely nil, of course, because we don't have deep sea fishing policy as of now also. So we should have I would encourage, because most of our people are only very near to the coast, territorial waters, they go and fish and come, that's it. So deep sea, when you talk about beyond not EZ and other places, maybe other countries going for deep sea, and now there is a policy and other things are coming, and it is also under the UNCLOS. Now BBNJ is coming forward. That is a biodiversity beyond national jurisdictions. So India already signed, but it has to be ratified. So under that, it will be taken care by deep sea trawling. Even now also Southern Ocean ecosystem, the people will tell that where you have to go, only you have to cook here fish, because there it is abundant. Other place you should not do. Like that condition will come here also. But once it is saturated. But we are not even started. That is a level. And of course, yes, MoES brief policy and other things we have to do. We are thinking of various newsletters and other things, how to communicate to the common man. Many of the people doesn't know so what we are doing and what is going on. So we need, it is our things, as sir also mentioned earlier, our dissemination to common man and other ministries is very important, which we need to do. And the last one, Antarctic stations. Of course, we have earlier 3 stations. Now it has come to 2 stations. And the first station, Maitri, it is very old. So maybe second station, Maitri, it is very old. Now we are going to rebuild very soon. So that is a thing. But you are also asking pollution, how to reduce. There is no linkage between that and you are talking about marine pollution. Marine pollution means debris and other things. No, now we are in the stature. We need to monitor how much pollution is there, in terms of how much debris are there, where it is accumulating, how we can get rid of it. All these things we are working on it, but there is no standard method to collect the debris and other things. So we are working with international organization of various aspects on that.
Also, on the pollution thing, I think there is a responsibility on all of us also.
Yeah.
To reduce the use of plastics,
Yeah.
which is all going to the oceans ultimately. But I just want to ask two questions, small questions. Indian coasts were mentioned. Have we got any simulation as to how Indian coast is being affected, say 10, 15, 20 years from now?
Yes.
Because we all talk about some islands going under the sea, but what's happening to our coastal erosion? And whether there's some warnings have been issued on this one?
Not one. Actually, we in deep ocean mission, one of the vertical is mainly for that. Climate services, which is mentioned very broadly, but basically, if a sea level rise is this much, what are the Indian coast will change in 10 years, 50 years, 100 years? That we have a thing.
It is yet to be done, or
It is done with the scale of some very coarse scale.
Okay.
But now our aim is to go for very high resolution. That means now we have 50 kilometer scale,
Right.
but we want to go for even 1 kilometer scale. That we are going for higher resolution model. So that we are working on it. Maybe in another 1 or 2 years, we will be able to get in various scenarios from different time scale.
My other question is about the budgetary resources which are available for all this kind of work. Now, I was looking at your annual report, and there was a table which showed how much budget was allocated, how much was you were able to spend. Except for 1 or 2 years in the last 15 years, you underspent the thing. What was the reason for that?
No, basically underspend mainly. Of course, the last 2 years we have our budget is almost tripled. So as you know that because of a deep ocean mission as well as mission Mosam and other thing, earlier underspend is various things because many of the things we are what is called we plan something but it is not able to make it. Even we are trying to buy a ship, it is not built, and so many of the
No, so point I'm raising
Yes.
this is this used to happen on the MOD side.
yes,
They were not able to spend it. The reason was really their internal processes.
that is also
So
true.
I
Many-
think we need to focus on that as well. Otherwise, all the missions will fall behind and all your plans will go awry. So when you do this, I think internal processes also need to be tightened.
that is no, it is not internal process. I can say it is also policy. See, earlier we started
That's why Earth's
Ah.
Commission, Empowered
Yeah.
Earth Commission, we can look at
exactly,
this,
exactly.
procurements, and there's so many
Yes,
other issues.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, one more round, and that's the last final round of questions. Yeah, this.
First of all, thank you, sir. I'm Abhay Tiwari, currently a student of mathematics in DU. And after watching your entire presentation, yes, what you're going to do, basically, what I understand, I'm a developer for AI and all that. And I understand you're going to be collecting a lot of data. And currently, I'm working as an intern with Drop the Dream Trust. And my question was, recently, I've been taking a lot of interest in Yamuna. And I realized that data related to all that thing, even oceans and rest of the India, is very fragmented, and there's no like open source collection of that data. So can we expect ministries or any institution related to the ministry to create kind of a portal for all the data or even APIs for us developers so that it can be easy to develop tools
Very
like
good
that?
question, I think. Yes, there is, yeah, there.
Good evening, sir. My name is Soumya. I'm an intern here at VIF. So my question is, you said that we should know better than our opponent. And in that context, you had mentioned a lot of future priorities, but critical and rare earth minerals were not one of those priorities. So owing to the recent geopolitical developments, do we consider the ministry counting them as a priority in the near future? Thank you.
What's up?
Thank you, sir. And outstanding presentation. So, and very inspiring. Thank you so much.
Let others also
And
see.
have a round of applause for the presenter, our dear and respected secretary from Earth Sciences, Dr. Ravichandran. We go down the memory lane for several years. So, our director said that so many things have to fall in place and everybody will have to rise to the occasion. And you also echoed the same thing. It is in that sense that I'm not asking questions, I'm just giving some inputs. One is, it was very gratifying to note that you said about the weather weaponization, and you were hinting to our enemies in the neighborhood. So that was very nice to note that there is a thinking about all those processes. And also, see, we do a lot of research in terms of policy. So somewhere I also read in one of your slides, managing sun to manage warming. This is the agenda of Bill Gates, Soros, and so on. So that is yet another input. We have rejected in 2010 under the Convention on Biological Diversity also that we are not for geoengineering, which is very harmful because who will control the norm? But we should not be left behind in the science of it. My second point is mangroves and corals, which I saw. And you have several institutions in Chennai, your own institutions. Now, in terms of mangroves, you see, the condition is such that in Kerala, there used to be about 700 kilometers of mangroves. Now it is less than 10 kilometers. So there is, there is a need for earth sciences. And of course, you talked about silos. So earth sciences, MoEFCC and others will have to rise. The next point is about corals. Now there is also a system by which you can have artificial reefs. So will your ministry have some plan for artificial reefs to be in place where they have got degraded? Earlier we thought reefs take, several thousands of years, and they still do take, but there is a possibility of artificial reef development. The on the fisheries, one input is, that for even the railway lines, they meet at some junction. But fisheries and this earth sciences, or for that matter, environment sciences, they never meet. Because what is bycatch or trash is biodiversity and matter of importance for you people. You have a full-fledged institution, CML, RE, for this. So will there be some kind of synergies and linkages? And of course, you spoke about brilliantly about the migratory routes for turtles, cetaceans, and tunas, and so on. There are two small last requests. One is in terms of glaciers, will some ministry own it up as a subject?
Yes.
Because DST also funds, you people also fund, MoES also fund, DRDO also does something.
Okay.
So at the last point is the small cloudbursts and lightning. Because these small cloudbursts, we rather than changing the definition of cloudbursts, can we, do some more science into it?
Okay.
That's all.
Well,
Once again, grateful thanks for visiting us and being with us. Thank you very much.
last question now. Yeah, Pradeep.
Thank you, Dr. Ravichandran, for this wonderful presentation. 2 decades ago, I had a privilege of traveling to Antarctica. I was part of defense delegation. We went to Chile, and Dr. Sithanu Pillai was also there with us. We ate parathas there. But then the more important point is that the Chilean delegation took us to Antarctica just to show us that the area of the land what they took us over the flight, Hercules aircraft was there. It's a huge, bigger than Chile. And they were repeatedly telling it is their land. When we went to the base camp, it was full of armed forces personnel and so many other people. And we had lovely parathas there, courtesy DRDO. But then I found they also called the Russian base camp people, and then we were shown the Chinese. And I was told that then in 2 decades ago, in 2004-5, that the Chinese have almost 8 to 10 base stations in Antarctica. I don't know about Arctic. So what they are doing there, the Russians also the other side of the globe. So I think you are telling that we have reduced the base camp from 3 to 2. I don't know it will come to one or what, but the priorities what you have highlighted here certainly desired merit, and then it has to be looked into, and government should focus if we want to aim higher, and China must be serving minerals, etc., whatever it is. There are a lot of hidden secrets there.
Okay.
So just a suggestion.
So, all right, there's last one, huh? Because he has to, he's a secretary, you know, बेचारे रात के 9 बजे तक काम करता है.
Just the 2 point. Thank you so much for the fantastic presentation. 2 questions. One on your MSME and promoting the ecosystem there. And the other is on your earthquake prediction, the predictions, etc. Do you work with also studying the animal behavior? Because we know that before any natural disaster, there is a very, very sensitivity in them, and they can almost, like I used to have a dog and he would just go under the bed even 20 hours before something is going to happen.
Sure.
So, and birds also, they hide. Second, so this is on that. So would you like to study that aspect along with the Environment Ministry? Second is in this, that recently I wanted something very special gift, and I got seashells. They're just like small shank. You won't believe, so well polished, and you can see gold and silver. So it's such a fantastic. And then I said, where did you get it? Saying some foreign lady from USA, no, from Europe, is somewhere in India. He didn't want to reveal it. And she does trade in this.
Okay.
It's so beautiful. I'll share the pictures. You can share it later.
Sure.
So that's a great opportunity for developing our sea resources.
Okay, I think we'll end this session here. Now
Okay.
request.
I'll just to quickly summarize. So one is somebody asked about the portal. So actually we have Earth Science portal. If it is not possible to see that, I'm sorry that it is, again, our dissemination mechanism is bad. But presently what we have is, we have a ocean separate portal, atmosphere separate, and geosphere separate, and also cryosphere separate. But now we are making it together again. So, but as of now, if you go to Earth System Science portal, you will be able to reach there, and one by one you can go. Suppose ocean, if you go, it will go to increase. From that increase, you can have a digital ocean there. Suppose you name it anything, even past history. Suppose 2022 at 500-meter depth at this location, what is the temperature? Which you will get it.
Wow.
That much ocean is very, what is called, very well organized. And similarly for atmosphere, if you go there, you will go to IMD, which is Pune. We have data center in IMD Pune. There you will get partially and model all these things. It will be in IITM Pune. So that is all linked. Which one? Yes, daily basis it is available. And similarly for geosphere, cryosphere, you can go to NPDC, that means National Polar Data Center. You go there, it will go. There you can get all the data from Antarctica and Arctic and Southern Ocean. So everything is separately it is there, but of course we are going towards a system together, because how ocean is talking to atmosphere, that is not possible to reveal in this. So we want to connect it now in one portal for Earth system. As of now, if you go to portal, Earth system portal, it is available, but you cannot say that at one particular time, how much temperature in the ocean, how much ocean from the ocean, how much glacier temperature, like that you cannot see. Separately you have to go and see.
You have animations also?
Yeah, we have animation. Yes, we have animations and many things are there. That is one. And minerals, somebody was talking about whether you don't have mineral priority and other thing. Of course, this mineral aspect, it is basically separate ministry is there, Ministry of Mines. That's why we don't look at the mineral in the land, on the land. But yes, the mineral resources over the ocean, we look at it. What is the resource potential available? How much available? But we are looking at it. And I will come back to Batsap last, because he has many observations and points. And China is having, as of now, roughly about 5 stations are there, China. And India, now we have 2 stations. It is not the question of number of stations. Even how many US is having? Maybe 1. But how big it is, that is doesn't matter. and also what for you want, what quality of science you are doing and research you are doing, and what that is more important. So of course, China is having, as of now, it is not many, but it is as of now it is maybe 4 and 5. Fifth one is construction is going on. So roughly about 5 stations in China, and we have 2 stations. And whether we have a future plan, we don't have any plan. But the existing station, we want to have modern infrastructure, and we want to augment more instrumentation and more scientific equipment, and in maybe staying and logistic and other things will be better prepared. For that, we are working on it in Maitri. So existing Maitri will be there, but nearby we will have a new Maitri too, maybe like that. So that is also a big thing in few years. We are starting this year, but it will come up in few years' time. And your question about one is MSME ecosystem. I want to MSME meet mainly for coastal areas. Coastal areas, the MSME related to marine hooks or net or these things are not at all available. I think we need to build that ecosystem in coastal. That is what I was advocating that one. And other one, earthquake prediction with the animals and other things. Yes, indirectly, we are not directly looking at animal, but we are indirectly looking at it in the ionospheric aspect and other aspect. But this aspect also definitely we need to do. And some people are doing, but it is a global research. It is not only India. Earthquake research is not only India, it is about the entire globe is working on what is the science behind to predict the earthquake. So there are various aspects like seismometers as well as what is called ionospheric perturbations, as well as what you are telling ornithological birds sound or animal sound before earthquake. All these things we are looking at it, but we are not looking at it. But if any university want to come and do with that, we want to funding, and I think we'll be happy to, because our resources is not, expertise is not in that. So suppose any ornithology institute or any animal, this thing, if they want to come forward, we will be happy to work out, but it is a need. Yes, I agree with that. And of course, this metal, what you are selling, this gold and silver in the sun, basically it is available. As I know that that's what is called hydrothermal sulfides. It is a multi-metals. Even platinum, gold, silver, everything is available. It is comes from the ground. So water is some, wherever the mid-ocean reach and other places. So we also identified some location. So we know where it is available. Now, how much estimate we are looking at it. Once we know that, still we don't have an exploitation right. Only we are exploring that. It is definitely, ocean is having a lot of resources, mineral, metal resources. And coming back to WhatsApp, so there are many now, maybe recently, whether you are aware of it or not, the glaciers or GLOF and other related aspect. Now the business of allocation is allocated to Ministry of Jal Shakti. But they have mentioned that all other ministry has to contribute, because the Himalaya entire ecosystem is various things. So those who are doing, please continue, but contribute finally to the nodal ministry is Jal Shakti. That has been maybe not even a year old. It has been now business allocation has been allotted. And yes, artificial reefs as well as artificial fish aggregation device as well as many things NIOT is developing. And the reef already, not only ours, then archaeological people also, they are making it a reef. So there are many people are making in the East Coast a reef. I don't know, West Coast they are not making. I'm not sure that we have to look at it. Maybe the environment is conducive for artificial reef in East Coast. And you are telling about the mangroves and other things is depleted significantly in maybe 700 to 10. Yes, only because of issue in the, this is one of the, this is a visibly climate change, I can say, in the coastal region. In the Southern Ocean, there is a lot of storms are creating that produce freak waves. In Kerala, they call Kallakadal. That freak waves are frequently coming and coastal is eroding. So that is why in Kerala, highest coastal erosion is happening. Because of the coastal erosion, now the mangroves and other things are depleting. But we are looking at it, what is the way forward, how we can plant more. That is what we are looking at it, because mangrove will be, one mangrove tree is maybe few orders higher than normal tree. That much carbon intake it will take. So we need to protect that. So we are looking at that aspect.
There's also a mangrove mission, no? India's
Yes, yes, a mangrove. Yes, yes,
Misty,
yes, Misty, yes. And there are about fisheries. Of course, we have Of course, we have a synergy now. Maybe after the blue economy policy we made, of course, under the Prime Minister level. So even the economy of blue and other aspect, when I talked to him, so that time we make all the line ministry, fishery, shipping, MoEFCC, as well as renewable energy, all the ministries now we are working together. We have a what is called blue economy group. Under that, we shipping also we are working together. Now fisheries, most of our meetings without fisheries and MOEF, they are earlier they never come. Now compulsory will come because of the direction from the top. So now we are working synergy. There is no problem, and they are really very conducive atmosphere now, especially fisheries. So there is no problem. And the final one you are talking about the cloud burst and lightning. So that is what now we are able to monitor where the lightning occurs and other thing. We are now soon we are also planning to launch a satellite for lightning locations monitors. And once it is available, then we will have better predictability as well as the monitoring mechanism. So that's all.
Thank you. So friends, let's give a hand to Ravichandran ji. You could see the energy behind his presentation, but more important, energy behind his ministry. A lot of creativity is there. I think this creative thinking is very important. And now it's not just the Ministry of Earth Sciences, but a lot of other people are also coming in. And now once the public also comes in a big way, I think this will really take us forward. See, climate change is happening, but the solutions to climate change is not what the West is recommending.
Yes.
We have to really prepare ourselves for adaptation.
That's why we need to. They are creating some narrative and they are dragging us. So that is why we need to fall prey to that. We need to build our own narrative. That is more important. For that narrative, we need to have more understanding, and we need to have. Once we understand better, then we can have a confidence to build our narrative and make it.
And also this adaptation. That is where I think we have to, and resilience. That's what we have to build, because people are not going to stop. This is and it's already a lot of this process already begun now.
Yes, started.
So thank you very much, Ravindra ji. Very kind of us.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to present. Also, some of our stuff here. Okay,
okay. I will take this also there.
Yeah. Just your prayer and then.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित्